It's 7 o'clock, and I'm going to call the meeting of the Environmental Commission to order. We're going to go ahead and we can go through roll. If you could just announce you're here to make this a little easier. We'll start with you, Sue.
Sue Metzel, present.
Virginia Schmidt, present.
Jonah Pichette, present.
Michael Walton, present.
Shantanu Pai, present.
Gina Hutter, present.
Chuck Bonacci from the City Council representative, filling in for Karen.
And Pat Shepherd, present.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Next, we move on to the approval of the minutes. Are there any changes that need to be made? If not, I'd make a motion that we approve the minutes as submitted.
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Sue. All those in favor of approving the minutes as submitted, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. And the minutes have been approved. We have no presentations this evening. There's nobody in the audience for participation. And so that brings us to commissioners' reports. And I'll keep on with the same sort of order here. Sue, we're going to start with you for our commissioners' report. I know that last meeting we discussed, we'd talk about goals this meeting, hopefully short-term, long-term goals, really lay some out as a commission. But if you also had something else to add as a report, that is A-okay to discuss here. So Sue, we'll kind of start with you here.
Well, I just was giving a little more thought to the poster contest that I was thinking of we should have for the grades 1 through 6, or K through 6, however. I thought that if we start with them when they're young, and then after they make these posters, they can post them around the school, and, they'll see them as reminders. So my ideas were, we would provide the poster board. So I looked at Amazon. They have, for $60, you get 100 sheets. So it's not really exorbitantly priced. And I think we're going to have a little bit of money that we can use somewhere along the way. Correct me if I'm wrong.
We might be able to ask council to.
Okay. And I have no clue how many kids there are in those grades. So a lot of this is just, thinking out loud. And then we could provide possible slogans. The kids could think of their own, but we could just provide some things like litter is pollution, you're the solution, try to think of some catchy little, every drop counts, 5-minute showers, protecting our planet is every person's job, etc. And the other thing is we could give prizes for, I would say, the top 3 most creative posters. And then they would have to be themed like a metal water bottle, something that would help the environment for the prizes. And post them around the schools or around, if there's, you can post them one here, wherever we're allowed to post them. I'll be glad to help post them and buy the board and stuff. As far as how you get in touch with the teachers and all that, I don't know any of that, but it's just an idea, and you can say yay or nay.
Okay.
All right, I have this, I guess these are posters kids may also pass this around. There's a million slogans, there's a million posters. You can order them pre-made. I spent quite a while online, and I could see how many options there were. So if if anybody thinks that we could try to do something like that, and kids always like prizes, Okay, and it would be voluntary, of course. It wouldn't be like an assignment. Yeah. That's all I have.
It's a good idea. I think it's interesting. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So when we're talking posters, I'll just dive in here. Something like that would be possible. I don't know if you could get the entire school on board, but I know that I believe Virginia, Councilman Bonacci, and some others might have connections with the environmental science teachers at the high school, and that might be something we could reach out and we could say, hey, as we're nearing Earth Day or Arbor Day, or even just sort of the traditional lulls in the school year, which come towards kind of the breaks in the school calendar. Would you consider possibly assigning to your students or offering them an extra credit opportunity to make, positive Earth-oriented posters and we could share with them some examples. And say, hey, you could hang some around the school, and we could even take some for our events that we do, whether it be Shred Day or our Earth Day event.
True.
That's how I maybe envision this
Okay.
working to start us out.
Yeah.
But I'm not the end-all, be-all deciding factor of us. There's all of us here. But that's kind of what I think right away when you said that, because it's a
Okay.
fantastic
So
idea.
you would like to include the elder kids too?
I think so, and I think starting at the high school might actually be the best way. Again, I'm a little biased. I'm a high school teacher, but I know that they're going to probably get it done if they're offered that extra credit opportunity. But again, I think reaching out to both the high school and the elementary and junior high school, that might be a good idea as well. Just because the more you could have, the more opportunity.
Right.
But they don't teach specifically like environmental science
Right.
in the lower grades. It's just kind
Right.
of a high school level course.
But years and years ago, when people used to smoke and that, and then they were taught in health that, it was bad for you. And I had a lot of friends and the kids would go home and say, Mommy, you're not supposed to smoke. It's bad for your lungs. And then, kids younger really remember some of this stuff. And I think they carry it with them too. So I don't think we should exclude the younger kids, but I agree that the more the merrier,
And even if they did it as part of Earth Day, like have that be an activity, and have the signs welcome people when we're doing something like Shred Day, and have the signs lining up the entranceway where all of the cars were driving, or lead a path to some of the Earth Day activities. That could be a possibility, and then you're touching a younger crowd
Sure.
as well.
That's a good idea.
You're a teacher too.
Uh-huh.
What do you teach? What?
I teach English, high school.
High school,
Sorry, yeah.
okay.
But even if you had it at some of the tournaments, they have a lot of tournaments at the parks over the summer. You could have a station, because there are always siblings who have to be there. That might be a target audience, and it's just as a way to reach out and be present somewhere.
I think the station at the parks thing, I think that's possible. That's a great point, Gene. I think that's possible. When it comes to doing stuff like that, the problem is manpower, right? We have to be able to say, hey, you'll do it, I'll do it. Sue will set up the station. We have to get permission to use the park in that manner, but to set up that station, to allow kind of kids to create those posters. But man problem is really the biggest problem here when it comes to stuff like that. But I love that idea too. Trying to use those parks and where kids are already there looking maybe for an activity to do, give them kind of that craft activity, that positive craft activity. And so I like this idea. I think it's a great idea. And we could use it in a lot of different ways. The posters at the schools or our other events really make sure they reach a large audience.
Right.
Thank you. And so what I could do, I could reach out, Sue, to my contact at the high school. I could get a contact at the lower grade schools, and I could reach out and see if they'd be willing to do something like this throughout the rest of the year for maybe Earth Day, Arbor Day, or at any point during.
When is Earth Day?
Earth Day, it's
April.
April.
Is that April?
20th, I think so. I think it's April 20th.
Okay. So that's kind of like for next year though, or would we start it this year and just hold on to everything, or how?
I would reach out to the teachers probably now, if
Okay.
the whole commission's okay with that. Because I do know as a teacher, and, planning is very important, and most teachers are probably, trying to already plan January, February, already out now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so,
And we're not meeting till like February.
yes, our next meeting's not till February as is. And so I think doing it now would be the best decision, and that's just, again, me, so.
I think starting at the schools is also the best, because even just thinking about the park idea, which is spur of the moment idea, but then do you have supplies, and then that's getting a little bit bigger. But if you do it at school and you give it to them to take home, then they're getting their markers or their
They have
crayons,
their own,
or
yeah.
that way you have less responsibility, because if I have to pack up a table and bring the posters and big boxes of markers or crayons, that's getting a little bit bigger. But I think if you start small, where it's their responsibility, that might be the better way to start. and then have it be every year or something like that, but
Yeah.
start the tradition.
Well, I just thought if we at least provided the poster board, you
Yeah.
know, that would be probably all we'd have to do if they did it in school or at home with their own markers or crayons. Or, yeah.
Absolutely, and I could reach out, I don't know, they may even have poster boards, these teachers may have some.
See, I don't know, I'm not a teacher, so.
If they're willing to include it as part of their state standard they're required to
Okay.
teach, they may say, we could do this as a lesson, and
Okay.
they may have
Yeah.
poster boards available for
Okay.
that. So I could reach out if the commission's okay with that. I'll reach out to the high school and the lower grade schools and
Mm-hmm.
see if they'd be willing to create these earth-oriented positive earth-oriented
Yeah.
posters, sort of like modeled after Sue's example there.
Yeah.
I have a comment kind of based on what I mentioned last time and kind of building on what Sue said. What if you had something for like I don't know if they call it graphic arts or whatever, like at the high school level, have not drawing, but graphics. And that's something that we could reproduce and use on our Facebook page and other things. So it'd be a little different spin on, you know, the drawing
But
part
what a
of it.
great way to
Yeah.
publicize it and have,
Right.
maybe have like a commercial, how they have the trailers on the top and have it run through. And we have Kent State, we have that off-site building is still in Twinsburg, right? I wonder what they house there, like what are the classes that they have or majors. I mean, because if you're looking for graphic artists, that might be another way to connect with people.
Absolutely. So are we thinking exclude the high school environmental science class instead of drawing and try to loop in graphic arts students?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about what, like, I would imagine that when somebody comes to you as a teacher with an idea, you have a couple of either people in mind or ways to approach it.
Yes,
So,
typically, yes.
so somebody has an idea and you build on it.
Absolutely.
So it would be good maybe to get some input
Okay.
from some teachers in that area to here's kind of our idea, here's some of the framework, and help us shape it a little bit to make it effective.
Okay, so see if the graphic arts would maybe build some images, infographics, things for our social media presence and/or website.
They could even think of some slogans if you want.
Like
Right.
slogans, things like that.
Right.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
There are media art standards and visual art standards
Okay.
for, those are the fine arts for 2024 that are coming up for the state of Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it would make it makes sense to cast as wide a net as possible when we're doing the initial reach out. I wouldn't initially exclude anyone because, like you said, you could bring this up to someone and they could have the idea of, oh, well, you know, this person in this department would be really great with working with that. So yeah,
Right.
I don't think at this stage we shouldn't exclude anyone and
All
just
right.
kind of let the process work itself out and see where it ends up.
Sounds good. So I'll reach out to graphic, arts teachers as well as the environmental science teachers and other science teachers throughout all schools. And Sue, is that all with your report?
All I had. Mhm.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Virginia, what do we got?
I think just that again,
Just
just
that?
kind of building on what Sue said and kind of taking a little different spin with the graphics part of it.
All right, that is perfect there. And is the commission okay if I do that reaching out? That way it's just one person, it's not us trying to divide and conquer. Okay. And then I'll be able to report back on February and let you guys know how it went. And I may even be able to send you an email beforehand, hoping all goes well. Michael, we'll kind of jump to you because I have a couple other bullet points. We'll jump to you for your report, your goals, all those.
I have no report. It's a hard act to follow up to this point, so.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I
Shantanu?
don't have anything to report.
Hey, that is all good.
Well, I don't have a report, but I have some ideas.
Absolutely.
That I wanted to throw out. And I was wondering if maybe we could work with all the people that keep the city grounds and look at planting more annual flowers that come back every year. So make the investment for things that come back in.
Perennials.
Perennials. Sorry, thanks. Not annuals, and they're beautiful, and thank goodness you're here. But there's a lot that are pollinators, and I was online with what pollinators, they're gorgeous, and so here are some for our area. And I think in the beginning, it's probably initially it's a more expensive plant to buy, but considering that they last and you're building that pollination, I think there's a lot of benefits to it. So I'd love to work with whomever it takes care of the grounds, and they do a beautiful job, and see if there are some ways we can build up the pollinating happening, invest maybe initially a little bit more, but then decrease over time. Like the islands between in the on 82, right by the freeway there, stuff like that. That's what I think I would like to work on if it's something that fits under our auspices.
I was just going to ask, is there like one place you'd like to maybe start focusing on?
Yeah.
Okay, the islands on 82. Who, and I'm gonna defer to our liaison here, Pat. Who
Yeah.
plants those? Is that the service department, I assume?
Service department does those, so Dennis Sadlowski would be a great contact, and I can reach out to him for you and provide him the input that you wanted to discuss with them, some of the
It's just
some of the
ideas,
plantings.
I don't know.
Kind of going along with that, Rebecca Ziegler in our economic development department, I know that they've been working recently on trying to put together some pollinator garden opportunities throughout the city. They've been looking at some of the city land that the city's been just kind of mowing to bare grass, and looking at opportunities to do some types of a few pollinator gardens. I don't know the specifics on that, but I think that they had a few locations in mind that they've been working on recently. So I could also put you in touch with them, but I don't know if they're doing that in conjunction with the garden club. I know the garden club was doing some work on that as well.
It's more a new group that we're doing, the Twinsburg Native Habitat Association, and there was one spot that kind of came to the top of the list, if I can mention it.
Yeah.
By Dunkin' Donuts, there's a couple lots there, and that might be the first area. It's just in the very, very early stages, but that's something that we're talking
Yeah,
about.
So right now they are looking at a few locations for more pollinator gardens, but I can also put you in contact with Dennis and see if they're interested in doing something in some of the more the roundabouts and the median plantings.
I think that's a fantastic idea too. Instead of ripping these annuals out, because I assume you have to. I'm not a.
And they do.
I know nothing about flowers or any of that,
Yeah.
but I'm assuming you have to rip them out every year, and then replant them, and that might save time, labor costs later on. So, Dennis might be very interested in actually hearing that conversation, long-term costs, things like that. So,
And just randomly going off on that same tangent, there's this milkweed is a weed because of the name to most of us, but it is huge for monarch butterflies, and because it appears as a weed, it's being mowed down, and so the monarch butterflies are decreasing at an extraordinary rate because it's being taken away. And maybe that could be something that we look at, because we are on the path of their migration. So we could add things like that to contribute. And I think working with the library, they have their own garden in the back. I mean, just making relationships with some of the things that are already here. I think Laura Leonard at the library is phenomenal, and she is a font of ideas and super creative and supportive of anything that's for the good of all. So it would be great to work with them as well.
The garden club maintains the library garden, the one in the fence, yeah.
Yeah.
And those are all natives in there.
Does the garden club also maintain that? There's, I believe, a pollinator garden in Center Valley Park.
Yes and no. We did a little work with Stanley Stein when he was there, but it's not something, it's kind of a different idea because it's supposed to be natural.
Oh, okay, so
The
it's
library
just let it
is,
go.
it's not manicured, but it's a little more forward-facing
Yeah.
than that one. So, yeah, that one needs some maintenance because there's some invasives in there that should be eliminated, but
anything else? No.
Good now.
That was. I like the idea of the annual flower or perennials, right? Perennials
Perennials.
versus annuals. Very confusing name right there. Flowers are not my thing. But no, I very much like that idea because again, I see them get ripped up every year and plant it every year. And I think that's such a great idea. Pat, did you say you would reach out?
Yeah, so I'll put an email together after we're done here tomorrow, introducing you to Ski and Dennis Lusky over our service department, and mention that you wanted to discuss some of the plantings and opportunities for more perennial and native plantings in some of the city right-of-way gardens.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, and so for my report, really quick, I kind of listed out a brief couple short and long-term goals. Short-term in my head was, now until this time next year, roughly. And I think it's important, at least in my mind, and you guys can feel free to disagree, but I think it's important we continue with our yearly events and education that we do. The wastewater treatment plant, I think that's important we attend, because again, that very much does connect with what I believe is our purpose as a commission. Our Earth Day event and our Shred Day event, I think we continue to volunteer, help out with that. I'd very much liked Councilwoman Lobby's suggestion of implementing kind of videos, after these events by, either some commission members, all of us, maybe sharing updates on how the event went, what we learned, things like that, and pushing those out to the community, about the wastewater treatment plant tour, saying, hey, big update, remember, don't flushable wipes, this is what they're doing for you, just to let people know. Our Earth Day event, we could give an update on how many people roughly attended, how much success it was. Same with Shred Day, small little videos like that. But again, it gets us that opportunity to face outward towards the community and connect a little bit more. Pat, you look like you're about to say something, or I just, no? Okay. All right, I didn't want to keep going if you were going to say something. So, and that's sort of what I have in mind, short-term, goal right there, one of them. Is that something we all think is maybe important there to continue with those events?
Sure.
Absolutely.
And again, I only ask now because during this off period, I am going to probably reach out, to get the permit for the Earth Day, to do a couple of those things to kind of get that maintenance work done now, that when we come back, we're ready to roll. And so that's one reason I ask now, so that we're all ready to roll as a commission. But I also thought maybe instead of us doing our Earth Day event and then the city holding their annual Arbor Day event the week after, maybe we consider trying to combine them and working with the Parks Department and just having one Earth-oriented event. And I've spoken informally to Director Bettinson, as I've seen her at council meetings, and I've brought this up to her, and she's given no solid commitment, so I don't want this to seem like she is on board. But I very much believe it might be beneficial to the entire community if we could combine events instead of saying come out this weekend for ours and come out, the following weekend for their event, as both, one Arbor Day, one Earth Day, different but similar.
Was this year the first Arbor Day event?
It was
Okay.
the first,
Okay.
and from my understanding, it should be an annual event here on forward.
Okay.
And so I think it would be worth a conversation with Director Bentonson of Parks and Rec to see if that's something they'd be interested in. Are we okay? What are your thoughts on that?
I agree, because I didn't know about the Arbor Day until the last minute, and I couldn't go, and I think it would bring more awareness to both things to have them at one time if possible.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And so I could reach out to her. I know I see her at council, but I'll also send her a formal email just saying, hey, would you be willing to combine these two events? And I think that'd be a great way for us to share and shed light on both events.
Who plants the trees that we plant? I mean, who actually pays for them and plants a few trees in the parks?
I do not know who paid for them. I believe they were donated. I couldn't tell you who does that, and I know that was all organized by the Parks and Rec Department and I believe Commission for this first event. And so it would probably a cross collaboration between us, the department, and probably the commission, if Parks and Rec Commission, if we decide to combine events. But again, I attended both. Shantanu attended both.
Yeah, it was nice.
Both events were fantastic. Our Earth Day event went well, and so did theirs. And I just only think, we could probably have more people from the community there if it was all on one day.
Where did they plant the trees? Where, in a park or what?
They were in front of Liberty Park, the big parking lot right next to the dog park. They planted, was it 3 of them, I believe? Planted 3 trees they planted.
Might be cool to think, this just off top of my head, plant an evergreen or a spruce tree and then decorate it, with the Earth Day theme things at some point, for Christmas, around Christmas.
Okay.
Instead of just leaf trees,
Yeah.
could plant
As long as it's a native tree.
Yeah.
Yes, it would have to be
I'm not
native
sure
there.
what native, there's shrubs and stuff that I know,
Oh, so you're
evergreen,
saying-
but I don't know, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
The
don't know,
spruce,
I don't know
yeah.
either, spruce there's lots
Yeah.
of white pine, there's lots of trees that are, like evergreen type trees.
Right, that's a good
I don't know,
idea.
just a thought,
Yeah.
just expanding it a little bit.
My next sort of short-term goal, I'm going to start this with more of a conversation. How many of you guys went to the Twins Day Parade? You were able to go there, see that? So a good chunk of us. Did you, any of you see the Jedi Commission marching in the parade?
Yes, with the t-shirts.
With their T-shirts,
Yeah.
right? I thought that was fantastic.
And at Chuck's event with the t-shirts too.
Yes, the Jedi Commission went to the Ward 1 Resource Fair with Councilman Bonacci, and they were wearing their T-shirts there. We host a lot of our own events as a commission. You talked earlier about the graphic arts students. What are our thoughts on seeing if we could possibly acquire T-shirts for the entire commission? As we are going to events, we could wear those. I know Jedi got them because they are outward facing. They are now getting more involved, connected with the community. We've been doing that, and we're doing that just more now. So I don't think that'd be a bad idea for us with T-shirts and things like
Yeah, I
that.
think it's a great idea. I mean, if nothing else, it increases visibility, because when we're at the events, people from the general public can see, oh, you're on the Environmental Commission, versus looking at us and, oh, you're just another person who attends here. And, because until we engage with someone and tell them, they don't know. They don't know that we would exist. So, yeah, I think it's a great idea to increase their visibility at events.
And then I'm going to bounce this to either the councilman or Pat. Do you know how that process for them to acquire those shirts went about? Was that something they just simply said, we would like these, and it sort of happened? Did they have to make a formal request?
So I was at a meeting where they voted on several drafts of a logo.
Okay. So we have to reach out to the graphic students. Okay.
Yes, they created
Alright.
their logo and voted on one. And then they worked with their liaison, which for that commission, it's Tammy from HR.
And for us, it'd be Pat. Yep.
And somehow it happens. I don't know the inner workings of how it happens. Magically, they appear.
Okay.
They have a
like
set
that.
of business cards that are generic in some respects, but it drives people towards their Jedi page on the city's website. So I think there's some merit in looking at what other committees have had success with and replicating it, because it gives them, in addition to public-facing events, it gives them a tool when they're out and about and they talk to somebody, that they could continue their message and remain engaged.
So when I reach out to the graphic arts students at the high school, I could also mention, hey, would you perchance be interested in creating designs for a T-shirt logo for the Environmental Commission? And at the February 4th meeting, I could hopefully present you guys maybe 2, 3 options, and we could decide on which we think is best.
And I think that also suggests that we need to make sure we have good information online, and that whatever the links we're using, maybe we have a QR code where people can reach out. But there's a lot of great things that happen. I just don't know that it's all up to date online, and that would be something that could be a goal to work on and see if we can make some improvements before February.
That was my final last short-term one right here, was that
Right,
website.
I stole it.
The Jedi Commission has a fantastic webpage, I believe. Like, in my opinion, I believe it's fantastic. It's succinct, it's very much to the point, but it also allows people to reach out. There's, I believe, a contact form on the side of it. It showcases the purpose of their commission. It lists the members. It's very succinct, not overbearing. Ours just has paragraphs of text on it with outdated members. And I really believe, I think we could update our page And I know Mark Katowski has asked, and he said, you know, what would you like ours to look like? And I haven't really told him anything yet because I wanted to see what our thoughts were. But if we're looking for updated links and, you know, just something simple, I would have no problem saying, let's copy what Jedi did, just with the environmental edge.
So if you were going to go crazy and get business cards, it would be neat to have a QR code and a web link to send them that way. It'd be neat to have a banner on top of the kids who, in the perfect world, submit those posters. And it would be great to have video links of the things that we do.
So
And
like those
maybe-
short videos.
Yeah.
Yes.
And next time, whatever the dates are that are the next Earth Day is, and Earth Day is on the 20th, and then Arbor Day is on the 25th. So that just seems like pick the one that's closest to the weekend. And if it means Arbor Day wins this year, go team.
Yep.
Everybody wins. But also maybe even a presence in the parade, in the Twins Day parade. I think we should be there. That's really cool. I love the library has their library van, and you don't have to be a twin to be in the beginning of the parade. So
Right.
I think it'd be neat to walk around and do something like that.
Maybe we could hand out, you know,
Brochures or something.
or bags that you put your trash in, you know.
That's
Something
like that.
biodegradable.
Yeah.
and
something,
candy.
yeah.
You can't forget the
Yes,
candy too,
that's
but
right.
Well, yeah, we could throw candy, but.
you can't forget the candy at
But
the
if we have
parade.
the
but-
T-shirts, we need to make sure we're wearing them. Right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we'd have to put the t-shirts to use. But I think what I'm hearing website-wise, though, is something simple, just a place to put those videos we will start creating after our events. So kind of modeled after Jedi. I could reach back out to Mark, I think was the one I was talking to, or you can, Pat, it's whatever you prefer.
Yeah, however you guys like, if you had wanted to do a printout of the current website and mark up of what stuff you want, or start with the Jedi website, or something that you guys like as a format, and whatever you're able to put together, I'm sure he'd be able
Okay.
to put up on the webpage for you.
Perfect. I'll use the Jedi, if we're all okay with that, I'll use the Jedis as our template, and I'll kind of just erase ours from the start. Because ours just has the old ordinance that established this commission, which is now outdated. It has old members from, I think, 3 terms ago. And that's very much it on our entire website. So it's not much to it. And I think Jedi's is, again, very brief, but a lot of detail and that brevity. And so that's where I'm glad you segued me into that point. And then I just have like 3 long-term goals. I'm not going to talk forever. I'm so sorry I'm talking this long. But I really did my homework here because I very much care about what we do here. When we're talking 12 plus months, and this is again something we'll start talking about in February, but I'd like to try to find a little bit more ways to incorporate the greater community and allow us on volunteer efforts or more events that we're at. And I think we're kind of starting that. I think we had that conversation jump-started today. Our outreach about the posters, if we eventually turn that into, going to the parks with the craft station, I think we're kind of jump-starting that already. And so I think this will naturally just be accomplished without us needing to set out to do it. And so that's kind of why it's a long-term goal, and now I'm almost willing to just cross it off because I think we're going to accomplish it without needing to do more for it. But what I really want, a long-term goal 12 plus months from now, I want at least one, I'd like to see at least one resident recognition program, where we recognize one resident at least, for something good they do environmental related. And it's
Yeah, because then we could have a picture of them on our website and.
absolutely, right?
Their sign in the yard or however we're going to reward
Right.
them, yeah.
And I think that'd be, again, just another way for us to say we are a part of this community, we're involved, and so are a lot of people who don't sit up here with us. And they very much do play a role in making Twinsburg naturally beautiful. And so I'd love to kind of start working on that come February and see, how we really get that rolling.
And maybe that's a place where the logo that we pick for the T-shirt is the logo for the award or the sign. So there's
Very
continuity.
Yes, I like that. And that was all I really had for all my goals there.
Well, how do you propose to publicize, that you're looking for, I don't know which word you're looking at, good neighbor, friend of the commission, I'm not, good business, you had a lot of
Right.
ideas.
And so what we'd need to do, and we could all kind of, over this break, I think we need to maybe now, instead of looking at goals and stuff, look at that resident recognition program that I shared to everybody. I'm hoping we all got it. maybe look at that and see where we'd like to start, what we'd like to change on it. Do we want to start with the good neighbor? Do we want to change the names? Again, I made all that.
Sorry.
And so we could change the names. Where do we want to start with it? How do we plan on recognizing people? There might be a way to take submissions on the webpage. I can't guarantee that. How do we want to recognize people? How many awards do we want to give? And then we come prepared for a real conversation on that on our February 4th meeting. Because that's how I see us being very productive to really start implementing that goal, because it's really going to take us more than one meeting to get that rolling. And we spent a lot of time here on goals today.
I think the two that I would like to concentrate on would be the Good Neighbor Award and the Good Business Award. The other two are called Student of the Future Award, Environmental Commission Recognized Resident, and Friend of the Commission Award. So, but I think if you just pick two, maybe, business and a, neighbor, resident. To me, that would make it simpler. We can't really tackle all of these at once.
Right, and we do need to start, with those SMART goals, we need to maybe start with just one and just
Yep.
build it up from there, like we are with these
I
posters.
don't know, I don't know anything about how we would decide who's a good business. How would we get information on, somebody that's doing environmentally safe or productive things that is a business here,
Sometimes
to reach
companies
out.
publicize that,
Yeah.
but I don't know how we could ask them
we
about
need to
it.
tap into that, yeah.
I think it's probably public record if companies are LEED certified, because I know that's very environmentally conscious and for recycling and things.
Yeah.
And so usually, to your point, yes, usually companies are very forthcoming in the environmental stuff that they're doing. So I mean, it may, for the initial awards, it may require just to do a little homework on our own part, and then once they exist and we see that they're being put out there, which kind of goes along with one of our long-term goals. And I think some of the ones that the discussion we're having and the points that you brought up can be put forth as kind of building our brand. And so once we've established our brand and we've shown that we're doing these and we're making these awards, it'll bring attention to the commission, it'll bring attention that we exist. People will start to realize that, okay, these are programs that are working, and then that could give the traction to have other people recommending, hey, I work at this place and they're doing great things environmentally, or hey, there's this person in my neighborhood that's really, they've planted their own pollinator garden. I think they should deserve recognition for it. But yeah, I mean, the initial ones, we're probably going to have to do the legwork for it. But to your point, so I think yes, the good neighbor and the good business are probably for lack of a better term, it's probably the low-hanging fruit. Those are probably going to be the easier ones that we could, in a relatively short time, get some good information on.
Right.
Are you open to a suggestion for business engagement?
Absolutely, Councilman.
So, I love the idea of a resident award. And I think to connect with businesses with the limited resource that this commission has, it might make sense for someone on the commission to engage the Chamber of Commerce
Good point.
to see if they would be interested in recognizing the business. And then maybe have a combination of chamber members and this commission be on the selection committee for those businesses. A path, same goal, but leveraging
The
different
assets.
resources.
That does make a lot of sense.
We have a lot of businesses in the chamber?
We do. We
Yes.
have a very big Chamber of
Yes.
Commerce.
Couple hundred?
I think it's a couple
Oh,
hundred,
okay.
yes.
And there are meetings pretty regularly.
Yes, yeah, they have.
Ooh,
Burgers to beer, or like they'll have
Yeah.
an evening night to
Ah.
talk about stuff. So, yeah, there's a lot of things going on with them.
Yeah.
And they already put on an awards program for the business person of the year. And then I think they do the citizen of the year at that one too. So I think this is just to maybe challenge them to go one step further and to help with the initiatives that businesses are already taking place, they're already doing. And maybe start recognizing those. And then when business owners and leaders are competitive. When
Right.
one gets
Yeah.
recognized,
Definitely.
somebody else wants to be recognized.
Right.
And I think it's a path worth exploring.
I very much like that suggestion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
that's
great
a
idea.
very,
Too, yeah.
thank you. So I had a couple of questions. Did we decide what event we're gonna do, Earth Day or Arbor?
I think, and I might be wrong, I thought we had agreed we're gonna try to combine kind of Earth Day. and
No,
Arbor Day.
combined, but which one? Like, are we gonna do it during Arbor Day because it's on a Friday? Earth Day is on the 20th?
That, I don't know yet. I think I'm gonna have to reach out to Director Bentonson and
Okay.
see where it works. If we're gonna combine it, because we will have to work with Parks and Rec Department
Okay.
and the, probably Parks and Rec Commission. And so
Is
we'll,
Saturday the best day, or would Sunday be a better day, or not? I'm just throwing that out.
I think Saturdays are
Saturday's
most
gonna
likely
be our-
probably the best
okay.
day, knowing that Sunday
Yeah.
people have, that's their
Okay.
day to relax or,
Then
you know,
keep it
taking
on
religious
Saturday,
ceremonies.
okay.
Yes,
But I think we should combine them to one big event.
right. And
So
so,
it's Earth Day on the 26th. Well, I know it's
It's
22nd.
always the 20th, but it's, can be celebrated different ways.
Yes.
Because I'm looking at, on here, it was set April 22nd. So,
Yeah.
okay.
That's not Easter or anything, right? We don't want to conflict with Easter weekend.
No, and we'd be able to move around
Yeah,
as we're
okay.
coordinating this. And I'm sure Director Bentonson, you know, if she is willing, again, I have no guarantee she's willing to do this, but if she's willing to combine these two events, yeah, I don't think we have to call it like our commission's, or environmental or her
Right.
department's, you know, Arbor Day event. I think we'd be able to find a nice, succinct and, you know, easygoing way to say it as a community environmental-esque related, you know, event. Much better than what I just said, but I think.
Environmental-esque?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, like I said, much better than I just said. I've been up since 4 a.m., so I'm running out of
Good,
fumes
yes.
now, but.
Yeah.
No, I think we'd be able to come up with something better than it's our event or your event, because it would be both of ours and a community event. So, I think
I,
that's,
I agree, yeah, good ideas.
I don't know if I could add something else.
absolutely.
So, the history of Earth Day in Twinsburg started in Solon, Ohio, as crazy as it sounds. So Daisy had shared that the first time they did a recognition was at St. Rita's school. For some reason, it was there. And then it moved to our fitness center. And then it moved outside the fitness center to Liberty Park. If we're doing Arbor Day, having the program where the trees are going to be planted is important. And if that's the case, please extend an invitation to Summit Metro Parks so they could come with some sort of what they offer. Because it's a great resource right in our backyard, and it was a nice opportunity to bring Earth Day outside to their park, and I would hate to lose them.
That's a great point.
Apparently, there are themes as well for Earth Day, and this year it's Our Power, Our Planet, which could give us some direction on the posters.
Yeah.
Yes, that does. That was our,
Our Power, Our Planet.
thank you. I have the most sporadic notes right now, but they make sense to me, so.
Just follow the path.
Going along with the idea of themes, we have a MS4 permit, municipal separate storm sewer permit with the EPA, the city does, and part of it includes requirements for public involvement, public education for clean water themes. Not that you guys are required to, but just throwing out there that anything that you include with a clean water theme, we can use as part of our permit with the Ohio EPA for our stormwater permit. Get credit for our public involvement, public education credits. So you don't have to do everything with them, but if on a poster or an Earth Day or any of your awards or anything like that, anything that, or even when we do shred days, if we pass out clean water themed pamphlets, that kind of stuff, we get credit for our MS4 permit.
Okay.
For anything with a clean water theme.
I did not know that. I'm learning a lot tonight. that was all for my report. Like I said, I had the most sporadic notes ever, but I do plan on reaching out to the schools about the posters, seeing if they'd be interested. The graphic arts students, see if they'd be interested in making some digital media, as well as possibly logos for a shirt. And we could maybe discuss those shirts come February, the possible logos, things like that. I will also be reaching out to Director Bentonson about combining Earth Day, Arbor Day, see if she's, still willing, based on our very informal conversation we had, and seeing how we'd go about best, coordinating that. Maybe they would want to take, the reins, and we would, set up a couple tables, as we've always done with Earth Day, and we'd just be able to take kind of a back seat. Maybe they want us more involved in it. I don't know, but I'll reach out and I can do that. And I think that was all I had to reach out to. I, again, might have one more I'm missing, but I think that was all I have to reach out to right now here. Yes. And that is all I have kind of for my report. Councilman Bonacci, did you have anything for the council report?
Just a couple things, just food for thought. With the Capital Improvement Board recommendations that are before council for purchases, we have 2 departments that are tapping into grants for fuel-efficient electrified vehicles. And then our zoning code update, issue 19. I hope I gave the right number. Is it 19? It's 19.
It says
is
19 on
19,
that, out there, yeah.
That update, if we were to dig deep into the code, you'll find updates into riparian setbacks and specifically exclusions to structures being built and on those riparian setbacks, which would help with storm water quality. We also have language in that zoning code update more friendly to some sustainability things. If we look at gardening as a sustainability opportunity for folks. Expanded where vegetable gardens could be planted in, not just in the rear yards, not just at setbacks, but it's where sun shines with a limitation of height on the type of plants. But as it stands with the current code, vegetable gardens and that stuff is in the backyards, and a lot of our home residents don't have that kind of space. So, just to dig into that zoning code, to look at what's environmentally friendly might be some nice things to be aware of, and then just the purchases that are coming up with the vehicles.
Awesome. Anything else, Councilman?
That's all I think that connects right now.
All right, thank you. Do you have anything for us?
No, I think those are great ideas on short-term, long-term goals that you guys have come up with, and I'm excited to help you guys with anything I can and help to make those happen.
Awesome. Very much appreciate it. Commissioners, do we have any miscellaneous items that we have for discussion? No? Seeing no miscellaneous discussion, we have one absent member. Johnny had sent me an email a couple hours before the meeting at a family function that I believe he forgot about because he did say he would be here, and then he sent me that email. And so I would make a motion that we do excuse John from this meeting.
Second.
Seconded by Sue. All those in favor of excusing John MacArthur from this meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. John has been excused. Our next meeting date is February 4th, 2025 at 7 p.m. here in council chambers. Again, February 4th, 2025 at 7 p.m. here in council chambers. I move that we adjourn. Is there a second? Seconded by Gina. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. We are adjourned at 7:49.